I'm finally taking over Brian's finances. He is in for a rude awakening. So this video is going to be a mix between how we're going to be splitting up our finances within the marriage, and then basically where to begin. What are the financial basics that we have to do for someone who has never budgeted? These are the basic things that we're going to do. This way. Oh, that lighting is already okay, this is better. Okay, first off, let's talk about what we're going to do as a family with our money. We are, for the most part, going to keep our bank accounts separate. You can combine all your bank accounts if you want. You don't have to. Whatever is right for you is whatever works for you in your relationship. I think the whole kind of spiel of, you know, your bank accounts have to be one once you're married, or else, you know, your relationship is built on mistrust and lies. I think, you know, that's bullshit. So for the most part, we're keeping our expenses and our bank accounts separate, but I will be controlling it on his end, just because, like, you know, I want him to be able to do what he wants with his free money. I want to do what I want with my free money. I think the only thing that we may join are do a kind of like a family HSA, because I've just been doing one on my own, so we'll do that. And then also any of the sinking funds, I think will just go into my account, just because I would be the one dispersing them anyways. So those are the only things. We'll have separate checking accounts, we'll have separate accounts for our emergency funds, and he will have his own accounts for like his Roth, or if he has to do a SEP and all that stuff. We're doing kind of a mix of both, but for the daily expenses, everything will be separate. So how are we going to get someone's finances in order when they are just at the basics? First thing I'm doing with Brian is I'm building up an emergency fund for him. I, of course, have my own emergency fund, and as a family, you can absolutely have a joint emergency fund. But for me and our lifestyles, as kind of like independent contractors and creatives, I think he needs to have his own in his own account. And that way, of course, if anything happens to us as a family in our relationship, which it won't, but just in case, that way he has access to his money, I have access to my money, and it's easy. So what I'm going to do is go through all of his bank statements for the past maybe like 3-4 months and see what he's been spending his money on. But I think for him, again, because we are independent contractors, I'm going to build out an emergency fund for him that's more on the higher side, probably a 5 to 6 month emergency fund with a dog emergency buffer. Again, it doesn't matter where you are in your financial journey, especially now with kind of like we're in a recession. It may get worse according to news articles and people, but that is the very first thing you need to have, is an emergency fund to protect yourself against everything. So start padding that up if you aren't fully funded, but that's going to be my #1 goal for Brian. The second thing I'm going to do is get rid of his credit card debt. Of course, through my financial journey, when I had multiple streams of debt, I worked within the snowball method, which is paying off my debt, the smallest debt first to the largest debt, and that helped me a lot. You guys saw my journey. It really set me up to succeed in paying off my larger $150,000 student loan debts and stuff when I was able and capable of paying off my smaller debts for my credit card and my car. So if Brian had multiple debts, that's probably the route I would take. I did a whole video about the difference. I'll link them up there, but since he only has one debt, I don't need to worry about that, but simultaneously I'll be paying off his debt while also building and fully funded his emergency fund. I think once I get a handle on his credit card, then I'm going to start contributing to a Roth. The cool thing about kind of like Roths and SEPs and all those things, all those accounts, is that you don't have to fully fund it by the end of the year. You just have to fully fund those accounts before you pay your taxes. Okay, so you can contribute up to $6,000 into your Roth. So I'll start kind of building up a flow chart for that to happen. And then we'll just try to fully fund that before he files his taxes. So the plan so far is to build his emergency fund up, to pay off his credit card, which is his only debt, and then we're gonna build some sinking funds for him. Sinking fund number one, I guess it's not really a sinking fund because we're not keeping track of it, but I'm going to start putting aside probably 30% of his income into a high yield savings account for taxes, especially now that we'll probably be filing jointly. I just wanna make sure that we have everything prepared. One sinking fund is going to be for probably a Roth. He actually made some good money this year, so it might end up being a backdoor Roth, but depending on how much he makes, it'll be either a Roth or a SEP. I contribute into a SEP because I do, versus a Roth, but retirement. And then we're gonna start building some sinking funds for him and our family. A lot of you for years have been asking, like, how, does he contribute to the sinking funds I've been saving for? And the answer is no. I have just been saving for basically every sinking fund for our family, and that's been fine for me. But now that I'm taking over Brian's finances, and I can kind of like clearly see and help him figure out the finances and make sure, that he's on the right track. If I feel like there's enough money to help me contribute to sinking funds for the family, I'm going to do that. But as of right now, my goal for him is to get him on track with his emergency fund, with his debt, and for him to start contributing to a retirement account. But after all that is said and done, once I get a handle on those and feel like, we're almost there, we're gonna accomplish this, then he's gonna help me with sinking funds for the family. That would look like the doggy health insurance, which, by the way, the health insurance for the dogs for 2023 has increased for us $1,700. How insane is that? It's crazy. It's kind of the mix of them becoming older dogs, and apparently it's just like inflation. So the guy said when I called them, and it was like, what the fuck is this? And then also something that we're gonna do jointly is our honeymoon. We're gonna be honeymooning next year. So that way we can kind of save jointly together. I mean, it's going to be so much easier once I get a handle on the more important things. But yeah, I'm excited to finally get this done. So those are kind of the things that I am working on for him. And I think he's going to realize once things are already set for him financially, set up for him to succeed financially, how much easier his life would have been. Also, on top of that, the home down payment account will be into the brokerage account that I've been saving into, just because why would we have two accounts for that? But I think for Brian, there are more pressing things that we need to deal with first before him contributing to a home down payment fund. And honestly, I think I mentioned this before, I'm not even sure if buying a house next year when our lease is up is what I want to do anyways at the moment. So I'm not really in a rush anymore to do that. I think we have more important things that we have to take care of first for Brian and for the family. And again, in that order, emergency fund, paying off his credit card debt, and then starting to contribute to a retirement account are the things that we need to work on first. This is what we're gonna do. This is how we're going to tackle Brian's finances separately, and then also as a family to help us succeed in life. And also, you know me, I just love building like sinking funds. So this all might seem a little abstract now, but just know that there will be a visual component about how I plan to break this down coming up next month. Okay. Ooh, it is almost December, which means it is almost the new year. This year came out really quickly. That's it. Also plug, the 2023 dated planners are available for purchase. The Notion template wedding planners are our second bestseller. Besides this, we have the undated planners. We still have a few academic planners left. We're actually not going to be selling academic planners anymore after these sell out, but you heard it here first. I haven't really mentioned that on our Instagram page yet. But anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips or advice or suggestions for me as to like the bank accounts or how to, you know, separate things or combine things or blah, blah, blah within a marriage, let me know in the comments. Okay, that's all. Goodbye.